Be on the water.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to call to order the August 23rd meeting of the Shelby Township Planning Commission. We'll begin by, I'll ask the secretary to call the roll, please.
Mr. Snyder?
Here.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Here.
Mr. LeRae?
Here.
Mr. Meredith?
Here.
Mr. Grott?
Here.
Mr. Apone?
Here.
Mr. Turner?
Here.
Chairman Moffett, we have a quorum.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as it's been presented?
So move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is approval of the minutes from the August 9th meeting.
So move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. This evening, we have three items. The first, site plan number 21-07, Beth Williams for GG Dental. This is a re-review of a few meetings ago when we were conducting in Zoom. Is the petitioner or representative here? We'll need you to sign in. Actually, anyone that speaks needs to sign in, and I need your name and your address. And then why don't you refresh our memories of what we're considering this evening, and then what was changed, what was addressed.
I'm Beth Williams, speaking for GG Dental. We are looking to re-review a plan that was a couple of meetings ago. It's a property on Van Dyke, just north of 24 Mile Road on the east side. There were some notes per the original site plan request that we also already received the minutes of the final site plan re-review and have addressed some of the issues that were found for the review comments that we had received on Friday.
Okay, so what have you addressed, and what haven't you addressed?
What ended up happening was we were discussing the width of the sidewalk. This is the Downtown District Committee. We were speaking about doing an 8-foot wide sidewalk as opposed to having the 12-foot wide sidewalk. We're fine with doing the 8-foot wide sidewalk. That was allowed by the ordinance. We had a discussion with the planner. That was updated also on sheet 04 of the plans, so we made that update to the plans. There was another question. There was some labeling that the architect made on the north, south, east, and west side of the building. They weren't called out as north, south, east, west, so I'm sure nobody really figured out which side of the building it was. We've updated that section of the plans. There were also some errors per the architect of calling out the incorrect finishes as to the exterior where the metal was going to go versus wood versus stone. So that update was also done per the request, and the architect took care of that. There is a variance that's required for the front yard setback for the parking, a 30-foot parking encroachment. So we did acknowledge that the parking was brought forward to the building to try and avoid taking out as many trees. We're trying to save as much greenery and trees and natural as possible. So we realized that per our discussion with the planner, that there would be support for the variance, so we will be going for the variance and applying for that. There were some engineers' comments that were attached. There were existing and proposed utilities are now shown as well on sheet 05 of the plan set. And permits will be required for any site work, and we do understand that. We'll finish up the plans, and we'll be turning those in as soon as possible. We realize we have to go to the DPW and Macomb Township Road Commission yet, and we know that that's the case. Another area of concern was on the site plan comments, having a berm at the back along where the condominium complex is currently, and we had spoken about not doing a berm because of the height of the property that we currently have, and we were talking about, instead of doing a berm, doing a landscape wall. Instead, we felt that that should separate the two areas, and I'll also try and make it look a little nicer and try and make it look a little more residential for the residences, for the individuals that live behind there. And those were the updates that were requested, so all of those we did address, and the plans will be turned in once they're approved, and we'll have the plans to the planner within the next 24 to 48 hours. We're ready for that.
Okay, thank you. To the planner?
Thank you, Mr. Moffett. I believe Ms. Williams addressed all of the items that I had on my review. The only item that was outstanding is for the materials on the facade. The C5, the C6 district actually does not allow seam aluminum cladding, and then they had switched it to plank siding. It is up to the Planning Commission to approve this material or not. They would rather see either stone or some different durable materials. But if it's compatible with and consistent with the design of the building, that would be acceptable based on the Planning Commission.
How much are we talking, how much material are we talking about?
It's the second floor, minimal areas of the second floor. I think the most extensive part would be the south elevation that would have the plank siding. The south and the east elevation would have a majority of the plank siding on the second floor.
I guess if they get the petitioner to come back up, I'm reluctant to allow for a different material, at least my opinion. Because the whole idea of creating this sort of downtown campus was to have a look and feel, which I think that plank siding would deviate from. I mean, I look at the CVS across the street from where you're, and I think it deviated a little bit with the intent of this downtown area, and it kind of,
What we were looking at doing, it's a fiber-on siding where it's not something that's going to need a lot of maintenance. I know, obviously, maintenance is one of the issues that you run into as people put things in, and then over time, it starts looking bad. So we were looking to try and do a fiber-on siding that I think might also give it a little bit more of a contemporary look. We were trying to lighten up the color, and at least it won't be something that, has a lot of maintenance to it.
Well, I think the intent, I'm trying to be true to the intent of the folks that created this downtown district, that we sort of hold to that until we throw that out, and that's a different body that's going to decide whether that should happen or not.
Right.
And again, I'll ask my colleagues to comment on this as well. The idea was to have something that had a little bit more of a traditional look, that had materials that were a little more time length to them. And I'm fine with the sidewalk, frankly, that bermed issue I don't have so much of an issue with, but I think that the only one item I do have is those are the materials, and I'll look down and see if anyone wants to comment on that or anything else. Mr. Turner.
Yeah, I would concur. You talk about maintenance. I think a brick veneer would be even lower maintenance than a plank would be. So my question to you is, would you be willing to have the first and second floors match with the brick veneer? It would give the building a much more appealing look, in my opinion.
I'd like to look at the cost for that. I know that, putting the second level on has kind of added a little more cost than what we had initially discussed with the client. So I think that's one of the items that we would look at. We might talk about maybe seeing if we could do something like a face stone type of idea, as opposed to doing brick going all the way up. The look of the building is truly somewhat of a little more contemporary look that we were going for. And in doing that contemporary look, we were trying to get away from it being just brick all the way up and shingles and that kind of thing. So we were trying to do, even if we could do something like a face stone as opposed to, or a face brick as opposed to a full brick going all the way up.
Well, my personal opinion would be that you do anything other than this panel. You have something to make it, you don't have to use all brick. You can use some other kind of material that it makes it look, as Mr. Moffett said, a little higher quality building that blends in with the intent of the C6. Question for the planner. Julie, did you express your concern to Mrs. Williams about the makeup of the composition of the outside prior to the meeting?
Yeah, it was in my review. It was
Yes.
stated in my review.
Okay. So that's my personal opinion on it, and I don't know where my other commissioners stand, but that's where I stand.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair. I do agree with both you and Mr. Turner. If we allow this now, then going forward, it'll set the precedent for others to want to make changes. And I think that's where we're going to have problems down the road.
So what type of we need to go with the brick or a stone going all the way up?
Yeah, you need to comply with, I mean, I think you
Okay.
need to comply with this, with the requirements in the district.
Okay.
And if there's a question on that, the planner's happy
Yeah.
to work with you.
I'll talk to Julie about it then. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Grant?
is that Dr. Gigi?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
Well, nice meeting you. Welcome to our meeting here. Congratulations. I like your plan. Looks like you put in a lot of details and a lot of thoughts and what works for you. As you know, we at the last meeting, we made some concessions already. As you know, Ms. Williams, from the beginning, there was a question of putting a 12-foot sidewalk, and now it's 8, so I would suggest that you work with Julie,
Okay.
get together with her, but I think you kind of feel what's going on, what we're looking for.
Right.
If you're willing to work with that, on that with Julie, then I think we can approve that today.
Yeah,
do you wanna-
Julie, we can schedule something for this week.
Or do you,
I'd say can we get this on the next agenda if we, I mean, I'd kind of look at what they want to propose as opposed to
Okay.
putting that on Julie.
That's
I
okay.
mean,
Yeah,
can we-
that shouldn't be a problem.
We'll just postpone it and then we'll put it on the agenda and,
Okay, for
because
the
I think
next
that's the
meeting?
only issue that we need to address, so.
Okay, for the next meeting, when's the next meeting?
The next meeting is going to be September 13th.
September 13th? Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Do I have a motion to table this item?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to postpone site plan number 21-7 for Beth Williams to the September 13th Planning Commission meeting.
Support.
And moved and supported. Moved by Turner, support by Snyder. Any questions on the motion? Call the roll. Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Meredith?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Grott?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Rapone?
Yes.
Commissioner Larray?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Look forward to seeing you next month. Next item is site plan number 21-29, Charles Shalhoub, for the Tap and Barrel.
I don't see them here.
Commissioner, we'll move that to the after this, the next item. So we have site plan number 21-27, PUD number 4, Philip Ruggieri for Mound 25 Properties. And this is a final PUD public hearing. I'll ask the secretary to read the notice as published.
Charter Township of Shelby, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission for the Charter Township of Shelby, Macomb County, Michigan, has received a request for the final approval of the following planned unit development. Applicant, Philip Ruggieri, Mound 25 Properties LLC, 43231 Shaner Road, Sterling Heights, Michigan, 48313. Proposed use, active adult community. Location, northwest corner of 25 Mile Road and Mound Road. Site plan number 21-27, PUD-4. Sidwell number 23-07-05-478-006, 23-07-05-478-007, and 23-07-05-478-010. Legal description is as follows. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, August 23rd, 2021, at 7 p.m. in the Shelby Municipal Building, 52700 Van Dyke, Shelby Township, Michigan, 586-726-7243, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the planned unit development application. The planned unit development application and site plan may be examined at the Planning and Zoning Department in the municipal building Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Written comments may be submitted to the Planning Commission at the above address prior to the hearing. Oral comments will be heard during the public hearing. This notice is provided pursuant to the requirements of Michigan Public Act 110 of 2006 as amended. Shelby Township Planning Commission, Jerome Moffett, Chair, Raquel Moore, Secretary. This was published on August 4th, 2021 in the Macomb Daily. There were 131 property owners, and 2 applicants were notified by first-class mail on August 4th, 2021.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kirk, did the publication meet all legal requirements?
Yes, it did.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask the secretary, did we receive any correspondence?
We did, Mr. Chair, this evening. We did receive a piece of correspondence via email from Mr. Edward Sobalski. He is concerned with the increased density of more traffic and safety issues.
Okay, thank you. The format for the public hearing will be as follows. The petitioner will come up, state what they're requesting, their reasons for it, and I think in this case also some adjustments that had been made from previous conversations on this item. We'll then bring it back to the board, the commissioners to ask their questions or state their comments on the item. I'll then open up to the floor, and anyone is wishing to name and your address can ask any questions, state any comments. I'll take note of those, then bring the petitioner back up to answer or bring the proper staff people to answer anything that's raised. With that,
Good evening, everyone. Phil Ruggieri, appearing on behalf of the petitioner, as well as myself. Thank you for this evening. As you are well aware, we've gone through extensive review of this particular site. We've concluded all the zoning issues at the planning and the board meetings the last time around. Now we're at the final stretch under the PUD requirement, which is a site plan approval. And at this stage, we had taken all the recommendations and requests by the board and this body, and those adjustments were made. Just by way of recollection, this is a 10.43 acre site at the northwest corner of 25 and Mound. The next page shows you the changes that we have made since our last meeting and as requested by the Board of Trustees. If you look at building number 2, we've reduced that height from 3 stories to 2-story, losing 12 units in the process. The density itself is now at 96 units versus 108. And under the former zoning, we were allowed 80 units. So in effect, you only have 16 units increase. But now it is a massive difference between how this product is presenting itself and that which could be done under conventional development. We've relocated the maintenance building to the middle of the property, away from the westerly property line. We have increased the fire circulation as per the fire department's request. So now we have extensive circulation allowable between buildings 1 and 3. On the perimeter of the property, we have extensive pillars and fencing that now goes along the entire frontage of 25 Mile and along Mound Road up to the area where the wetlands are to the north. And then we've added additional trees along Mound and 25 Mile Road, as you can see along the ponding area. We have added a additional tree at the end of the carport facing Mound as requested. And in the detention area, we've added fountains to give it a water feature so that the frontage of 25 Mile Road and the easterly border of the Mound Road site will have the detention with water and fountains. So it's a very, very beautiful curb appeal feature. And then to the west, it's extensive landscaping along the perimeter, the westerly line, and as well as the frontage along 25 Mile Road. And with the reduction in the size of the building, it'll all blend in quite nicely. The next page gives you another update of what the net effect of all these changes are. Now we've created a complete park-like site plan and layout for this site. We have a lot more trees in the area. And I've indicated earlier, we've got the building number 2 is now reduced to 2 stories. The buildings themselves along 25 Mile Road, building 2 is 155 feet from the road, and building number 1 to the east is 175 feet from Mound Road. So we've got have pushed these buildings back so they're not on top of the road system, and it also allows it to blend in a lot better. I've already indicated the detention ponds are now with water features. We have total green space area on this site of 65%, which is a significant number. As you can see, the dark green area, that's all preserved conservation area that will be untouched. We've added significantly well-designed carports that have a nice design feature. As you can see how they're separated on the site. We have a fitness and a walking trail system throughout the complex that allows for exercising and to have the beauty and safety of our residents to walk within their own complex. And also there'll be sidewalks that are along 25 and along Mound if they want to go beyond the complex to eventually connect into the system that we have here in Shelby. And some of the benefits under the next page, if you'll turn, we've totally eliminated an office complex and the associated traffic that comes with it, because that's usually an 8 to 5 type operation and people come in and out all day long. That's been totally eliminated. You've got a significant reduction, as our traffic study showed. This is a very quiet development. You reduce the traffic by more than 2/3. We have a slightly increase, as I've said, in the residential density. You go from 80 units that's allowed under conventional to 96 under restricted, so that's only 16 units. It's an age-restricted community, 55 and up, so we knock out any of the problems associated with conventional apartments. That's no longer an issue. We have no impact on our school system. These residents will not be attending any of our schools, but they will directly help on the contributions by way of our taxes to go to our school system. We've enhanced the landscaping significantly. This site is beautifully designed by our landscape architect, Jim Epping, and we also have with us Pete Snyder, our engineer, as well, and Jim Palazoyas. He's also one of our partners in this matter. I've indicated about the trail system. We've got that. All the buildings have community gathering areas. They're well designed. The next page shows you the elevations that we've gone through pretty extensively. Brick, it's got stone features, very little additional. It's pretty much a maintenance-free building of high quality, very nice curb appeal. All the balconies and porched areas are inside the building, so they're not extending outward. It helps for the inclement weather that happens, and it gives more privacy to the unit owners. We have 24-hour secured security for the site, 24/7 maintenance. I've indicated about the common areas of social lounges on every floor. We have Amazon drop boxes, and I've already touched on the balconies. And we have a variety of units, 1- and 2-bedroom units. There's 36 units in a 3-story building, 15 are 1-bedroom, 21 are 2-bedroom. And of the 21 units that are 2-bedroom, the 2-bedroom, 2-bath make up 15. It's over 1,000 square feet, 1,017, I believe. And the other 2-bedroom is just under 900 square feet. And then you got the 1-bedrooms at 670. And that's pretty much it. We are just here to entertain our final stages of this matter. It's the site plan approval, and we leave it at your discretion. I think we've met all the issues that have come about, and we've exhaustively gone through traffic and all the other issues, and I don't want to get back into that again. But if you have any questions on the specifics of the site plan, I have my team with me, and we'll be here to address them as you see fit. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn to the planner for her comments.
Thank you, Mr. Moffett. So as Mr. Ruggieri stated, that this is the final PUD approval. A lot of the items that were at the preliminary review were addressed, and he did a good job of addressing all the items. And the Township Board also had some concessions with him that he incorporated in this plan as well. So I have very minor comments. Tree permits required, indicate easements with LIBOR and page numbers, and then add landscaping at the entrance off a 25-mile to screen the parking spaces along the east side of the building, number 2. So if you have any questions on that, I can point that out to you, Phil. Clarification on comment number 17 on the landscape plan. Other than that, most of the department reviews from assessing DPW and fire department are pretty standard. Other than that, everything should be, everything was addressed on my end.
Okay, thank you. To the board, does anyone have any questions for the petitioner or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I want to thank Mr. Ruggieri for cooperating with the board. Just so everybody know, he made a lot of concessions at the Board of Trustees. One of them was bringing that one building from 3 stories high to 2 stories high. There was seems to me like there was a big issue that the height of the building, and he cooperated with the board and reduced that height of that building, which is at that point was a little easier for board members to vote for it, because that building would obstruct the view, or it was right by 25 Mile Road. So I want to thank you for doing this and for your great cooperation with the board.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you. Does anyone else wish to comment or questions? Okay, seeing none. This is the only public hearing the Planning Commission will hold on this special land use request. All remarks will be entered into the record for Township Board evaluation. We are recommending body, and the Township Board will evaluate our recommendation, which is a legislative body. The Township Board will make the final decision on this request. At this point, anyone in the audience is free to, if you want to come up, I would just need you to sign in, and then also your name and address.
What do I have to do?
Sign in at the sheet there on the table.
I'm Linda Wisnat. I live 5599 25 Mile Road. I live right next door to the proposed development. I am 100% against the rezoning request under the current conditions, that being the 20 by 12 dumpster, just 29 feet from my property. There is no one in this room that would want a 20-foot dumpster next to their yard. Mr. Ruggieri said that he would add additional trees to block the dumpster. Trees won't stop the smell. Trees won't stop the rats and flies. There are 10 acres with 4 sides. Why would you put a dumpster on the only side with the homeowner? I have spent the last 6 years turning my backyard into a park. I have a camper, park benches, fire pits, and lots of flowering trees. We spend most of our time in the backyard. If you allow this dumpster to remain as it is proposed, we will no longer be able to keep it as a park. It will be turned into a dirt bike track and not the kind you pedal. That is not what I want. Please stand up for the residents and not always the developers. Please make moving the dumpster to another location a condition for the rezoning approval. I'm sorry, I'm nervous, but you know, he moved the maintenance building. Why can't he move the dumpster there, and why can't you put the maintenance building where I don't have to smell it? You know? And also on Shelby Park Manor, all their dumpsters are enclosed. They have trash compactors. And you don't have any smell. You don't have to worry about rodents or anything like that. You know, why would you put it right next to the only family? You know, you have 3 other sides. There's no other house, and you're putting a dumpster just 29 feet from it. So I'm just asking you,
Okay.
you know, if it could be moved somewhere else.
Okay. Anyone else wish to comment? Seeing none. To the planner, is there a reasonable alternative?
I think at this point, being that it is on the corner of 25 Mile and Mound Road, you know, obviously the dumpster can't be alongside those 2 main roads. And then you have the wetlands area back in between the buildings. I think this might be the only feasible location for the dumpster, unfortunately.
Mr. Ruggieri, why don't you go review how are you screening this? And it is enclosed to.
Yeah, we've gone through this issue pretty extensively. This homeowner didn't want anything on that side of the property. We moved the maintenance building to appease that issue. We put that to the center, but the disposal company, there's no way for them to get the proper circulation. So that's the only place that's feasible to put it in, and the precautions that we took is it's as north as you can get it, and it's also extensively landscaped along that area. And her house is significantly south of that, so it doesn't meet where her house is at. It's all a wooded area that she's talking about. And the dumpster itself is enclosed. It's all block, and then the container is put within that blocked area. So you're not going to get any of those issues that she's talking about. I mean, they're all closed and contained. Now, making reference to Shelby Park Manor, I happen to know that site extremely well because my mother-in-law lived there until she died 2 months ago. They have a complete open dumpster that attracts all the rats and rodents and all the other attending issues that come with it. You simply take your trash, because I had to do it for my mother-in-law. Take your trash, you just throw it in the air and let it drop into an open area. Then the truck comes in and squishes it all together and takes it out. It's an open area. Mine is totally contained. So we're not going to have smell and all those other issues that she's talking about. So I don't know where she's been at Shelby Park Manor, but I've been there. I've been there hundreds of times, and this is totally different.
All right, we're not going to argue.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that because,
All right.
I changed my plans
Okay.
to make sure that we addressed her issues at a significant cost with engineering, landscaping, architecture, and design.
How often will you have a contractor come out to empty the?
I think they come once a week like everything else in
Okay.
Shelby, and that's all. It's going to be minimal, and it's all contained. These people are not reckless people that are going to be living in there. These are 55 and up. I'm not saying that any of us are 55 and up, but I know I am, and I like to be careful with my garbage. I don't like it strewn around. I don't want to cause issues. And we've got maintenance people that'll be 24/7. If there's anything that's strewn outside of that dumpster, we'll address it and take care of it, because it's important, a complex like this, you keep it neat and clean. If you want to attract quality tenants, then it should always be maintained properly.
Okay.
So we think we've addressed those issues
Okay,
pretty well.
thank you. To the planner, I mean, there are mechanisms within the township to address any kind of blade issues that any abuse would raise, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. To the board, before I close the public hearing, is there anything with that, entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
To the microphone.
Talk into this?
Yes, and your name and address.
My name is Nancy Moronco. I own the house. This is my daughter that lives there with her husband. And I'm very upset about the 20-foot dumpster being right by the fence. Have you ever smelled a 20-foot dumpster while you're floating in a pool? Doesn't sound like fun to me. And the idea that everybody is catering to her, that's not true. All the time I lived there were people trying to buy the property, and I refused to sell. They tried to buy the whole block before, and there were 2 holdouts, me and one other neighbor. So, no, I wasn't happy about apartments going up. I'm still not happy. And I look down the street and I see that what they did just on the other side of Mound, it's a disgrace. Right by the schools. I lived there over 50 years, and I hate to see what they've done to it. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to close the public hearing by Turner. Is there support? Support by Meredith. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Our recommendation this evening must be based on the following standards: compatibility with the adjacent land uses, consistent with and promote the intent and purpose of the special land use, compatibility with the natural environment, consistent with the capacities of public services and facilities affected by the proposed use, protect the public health, safety, and welfare, and the adequacy of public access to the site. We may recommend approval, we may disapprove the request, or table it to evaluate the information further. At this point, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Turner.
I'll move to recommend approval to the Township Board of Final Plan Unit Development Site Plan Number 21-27, PUD4, for Altair Active Adult Community located at the northwest corner of 25 Mile Road in Mound, parcels number 23-07-05-478-006, 23-07-05-478-007, and 23-07-05-478-010, based on the following. The planned unit development meets all the criteria in the zoning ordinance and conforms to the R12 multifamily ordinance requirements. The PUD site plan encourages useful open space and recreation areas and innovation in land use based on the design and layout of the site. The proposed plan unit development is consistent with the land use pattern recommended in the township's adopted master plan. The plan unit development plan has sufficient access to a major thoroughfare, and the proposed use will not interfere with or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings or unreasonably affect their value.
Support. Moved by Turner, support by Pone. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Pone?
Yes.
Commissioner Larray?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Meredith?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Grott?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Good luck. Where are we? So, site plan 2129. Of course, I forgot my glasses. Tap and barrel, no? So I guess we'll postpone this till the next meeting?
Okay.
There are no objections? Planning director's report?
I don't have anything, Chairman.
Okay. One more motion.
So moved. Motion to dismiss.
Is there a second just to adjourn?
Support.
Moved and support, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.